I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 9, and today we get into the Occultism mod. Hopefully you guys are ready. Now, believe it or not, today is episode 40. I don't even know how we made it this far, but we are now on episode 40, and tons of adventures have happened thus far. But it's also World Download Day, because every 10 episodes, I upload a world download over on the Discord. So if you're a supporter of any tier, whether that is on Patreon, on Twitch, here on YouTube, or on the Discord, be sure to link your account over on the Discord and definitely get your world download today. Now, on with today's episode. Now, today I have dressed up for the occasion. I'm in an occultic piece of gear from Irons, but this is more just for the looks, right? Because today we're diving into the Occultism mod. Not necessarily about cults, but it is definitely about spirits and demons. And, well, having those demons do bidding for you. Yes, there's a word for it, but YouTube might not like me saying it. Now, occultism is going to be needed for us for a multitude of things. One, I'm going to want it for the Crusher. That's probably one of the coolest things, is you can get like 6 times ore processing from this thing. So there's a lot of things that I can put into it, like all the mods ores, for example, and I can get from one ore, one raw, 6 as an output, which would be pretty good getting all of that dust. But it's also required for this empty soul gem. We are going to need these in order to get one of the ingredients for the ATM Star. Now, it does say that we need a dimensional storage, but from what I've looked at, this Master of the Universe in this particular configuration doesn't actually use it. I think that's just kind of a bug right now with the quest. It may be fixed whenever you're playing this. But we definitely need to get into it for the Soul Gem, and I also want it because, like I said, it's great for processing ores. Now, if ever you get stuck while you're playing this, be sure to check out the guide on here, because this is a pretty nice little guide that kind of walks you through this mod, but you can also use the book. So it does mention right here to make the Dictionary of Spirits, which not only is going to be functional later on, it is actually a guide and is pretty cool because they give you this feature, which I absolutely love, the ability to unlock everything. So you can just click this and open everything up. So if you ever want to look at something specific, you can do that instead of needing to do one step after another, especially if you've played through this mod before. Now, I want to fast track you through this mod. It is going to be quite the journey because there is a section in this mod that requires you to find things in the Nether, and that can be kind of tedious. But I'm going to try my best to show you the best ways to get through all of the stuff needed through this mod. Welcome to Chosen's Occultism 101. I always kind of wanted to say that. Now, some things that we're actually going to need. I'm going to go ahead and plant down some of this demon dream seeds right here. And then I'm just going to grow some of it until we have a decent supply of this demon dream fruit. This is something we're actually going to need to get our hands on. Now, once we have this, we're going to need to eat it. And this right here, oh, this is one of my favorite parts. We have now eaten something we probably shouldn't have. Now we're a little bit tipsy, right? But no, this actually lets us see things in the world and is going to be useful to us later on down the road. It's actually the only way you can harvest certain materials. You have to be under this third eye effect. Even if you see the material that says occultism, you won't get the occultism version unless you're under this effect. Now, let's not jump the gun too far, but I do want to show you the other use for it. We can toss it on the ground and light it, and this gives us a spirit fire from occultism, which is one of the ways that we are going to produce some of our starting materials. So if we dive back into the book, we should be able to see that this is going to lead us into a couple of things, taking andesite and turning it into other stone, and then also turning oak saplings into, it looks like oak saplings, but oak saplings from occultism. And this is where we're going to be using that food. So if we just toss in some andesite, you see we now get other stone, and if we toss in some saplings, we get special saplings, occultism saplings. And then in this particular case, notice when I plant this tree, it doesn't do anything. I'm sitting here trying to shift, but we need bone meal for this. So if I grow this tree, it just looks like a normal oak tree. And even if I break it, it's just going to give me normal oak from this tree, normal oak. But if I eat this food and get under this effect, now this is a oak log from occultism, and is a little bit different. And so now we actually have the otherworld wood, which we're also going to need in this mod. And this right here is the only way that you can get it starting out. Now, with this basic knowledge of these mechanics, everything else should be pretty straightforward. We need to make ourselves some chalk, and chalk is going to be the incredibly important material that actually has a progression behind it. So we should be able to make quite a few of the chalks, but we can't make the highest tier. And that is what's going to gate us from being able to make the highest tier rituals right away. Well, let's do the whole thing here. We're going to go ahead and make some of this burnt other stone. And then we actually need to take this and we need, so now some of the other stone I just smelted up. And if we go into occultism, we will see now we have burnt other stone. This is going to be useful. And then we also probably want about 32, I'm just going to do for now, of this. This is going to be otherworld ash. And this is going to be combined together. And this is how we're going to make our starting chalk. So there we go. We now have chalk, and we're going to need a couple of these. For right now, we'll just use one, and then we toss it in here, and now it becomes chalk that we can then place symbols down with. But we want to be careful because these are not easy to remove. To be able to remove them quicker, we can go ahead and make ourselves a chalk brush, and then we can easily remove them. But they're going to be semi-permanent when we start to build these. Now, getting yourself some gold chalk is pretty straightforward as well. This just requires some gold dust and gunpowder with another impure. But moving into the higher tiers of chalk is going to be a little bit more challenging. To get the purple tier, we actually need crushed instone, and it only comes from a crushing spirit. So through the progression, we actually have to get ourselves our first spirit, aka demon, aka jinn, one of those. Now, the creation of this thing is going to come from if I can say this correctly, Avir's circle, and this is going to be a foliate that we're going to be producing, and the job is a slow crusher, and it's going to require these ores, and we can actually pin this up here to be able to see this. Now, we're not seeing the ritual, but we do see all of the ingredients, seeing that we are going to need the Dictionary of Spirits, and we're going to need a binding book of foliate. These inks are pretty easy to get. It is just the black dye, and then we also need feathers. Now this shows an awakened feather, so we actually need, this is new to me, we need to toss a feather into a spirit fire, and then we also need to take a book and toss it in to make a taboo book. Yes, this is getting weird. Now, to be able to find those rituals that I was talking about, they're called pinnacles. These right here are where you're going to locate them. So this is the Avir's circle, and we can actually go ahead and highlight that, and we can just place it down just like this. Now we are going to need candles, and I think one of the easiest ways to get these candles if you don't have bees is by using a cleaver or a butcher's knife. If you use this butcher knife on things like pigs and sheep, you will actually get some tallow, and the tallow makes it a lot easier to build candles, and they also look really good. But because we have bees, we have plenty of regular candles that I'm going to utilize for this. Also, we're going to need to utilize all of our chalk. Look at this. This is actually just a white chalk ritual. You don't need the yellow for this. And there we go. So we're almost done, right? Because this part is going to be important. We are going to need sacrificial bowls, and this is going to, we're going to need actually several of them. For each ritual we do, we are going to need them. These sacrificial bowls are used to deposit our items. And then the golden sacrificial bowl, which goes in the middle, the golden sacrificial is what the book goes in, and essentially is what's going to craft everything in the center. Now, JEI doesn't make this super easy to understand, but the sacrificial bowls, you can actually place them inside the ritual or outside the ritual up to so far. But yes, you can place them inside. They're not going to disturb anything so long as you're not overwriting any of the chalk or other items that were required. Now, this is where we actually need to get the gin. And so we're going to combine a book of the foliate, and there's different tiers of these. This is the base tier, and we're going to combine this, and this is going to bind it because apparently the spirits come out of the book. And yes, this whole mod, by the way, is based off of a book. Yeah, this whole mod is sort of about there being another sort of dimension that exists within our current dimension, but we can't like interact with them without doing all of this magic stuff. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and wake our first spirit up. and be able to get access to it. So I'm going to place all of the items needed for this, and this is to get the crusher. And then we place this down in the middle, and it says starting summoning foliate or crusher. And it is currently working. This does take some time for some of the recipes, and I think the best way to speed some of these up is by using a time in the bottle. But notice it does consume the items here and is going to take, like I said, time. There's nothing really you can do to speed these up other than using a time in the bottle. And this is one of the fastest ways of doing it. So definitely do this, I think, after you have a time in the bottle. And it's almost done. There it goes. By the way, this is what the silver ore is used for this mod. But there we go. Zork Memer. I definitely butchered that. But this little fella right here is, it should have an inventory. So we can shift right click to access its inventory, or you can just drop items on it. We need to give it netherrack. Or not netherrack, we need to give it instone, right? That's like the main thing we need to give it because we can make everything else. So you can either toss it on there, which it'll pick it up off the ground, or you can just put it into its inventory. However, it does just drop the things directly on the ground. So that's something you want to keep in mind. And we need a little bit of this stuff right here. Normally you would crush this and obsidian in it to be able to progress through the mod, but we just simply need to crush up a little bit of this. So now that we have some crushed instone, we can make ourselves an impure purple chalk. So this is another thing yet again through our chalk progression. Now this lower tier guy, it will double the ores and stuff for you, but it's not going to last very long. This one actually has a decay and will decay over time, this poor little guy. But the higher tier ones, they will stay eternally. And since I have so many eternal Stellas, I might as well use these on our chalk. That'll just make our chalk eternal. Yeah, this is going to be quite nice. Not having to worry about durability and ever making these again. Now, another item we're actually going to need quite a few of are these spirit attuned gems. And this is going to finish up the top half of our chapter here, it looks like. But there's still a lot more because this is where we're going to dive into more advanced rituals. So now at this point, we get into a little bit more of an advanced version. Now that we have this purple chalk, we can actually summon in something a little bit different. This is the Ifrit, and I'm going to have fun with this. Apparently, it has a new texture that I just noticed. So let's go ahead and show the multi-block preview here. And we can go ahead and place it down here for right now. But this is actually going to summon in a mini boss for us to fight. So this thing is almost fully complete. We just need to simply place this in. And for some reason, the skulls, I guess the skulls really don't matter what position they're in. It just depends on which way you place them in. But to make this thing happy, we can go ahead and place them in like this. And there we go. It's complete. Now, this ritual actually requires another step aside from just placing items down. We actually need to sacrifice a cow. So shoot, and here we go. This is supposed to be like a special boss too, by the way. So we need to summon in the cow and then kill the cow. And then this is now going to start working and start to pull the items in. And we can go ahead and accelerate this, but I need to be a little prepared because it is going to be a boss battle. Let's make this go a little bit faster. Oh, I'm anticipating. And I'm ready for this. I did notice it looks like it has a new image or a new skin for this mob. Okay, so there we go. And I know I didn't even have time to look at it, but the main thing we needed was the Ifrit essence. Oh, the poor thing, it's gone. Now the Ifrit essence is mostly used to make the red chalk. But you can also use it to make the higher tier ore miner. I'm not going to be worried about making this ore miner as we have many other options in this pack. But the ore miners are actually really nice from this mod. But yeah, you're going to use it to make the chalk we need. Now there's a couple of things that I ultimately need, right? I need the crusher, but I also need these empty soul gems, and getting the empty soul gems is not too bad. But this is the main thing that we're actually going to need. Now, the crushers are just a want, and I think it's going to be helpful later on. This does require us to get isnium, however. And isnium, there's a couple of ways that I can go about it in this pack, but normally we would need to go through the route of having eternal goggles on, so the otherworld goggles, which basically give us that fruit effect. And would allow us to find ore that is located underground. And this stuff is kind of hard to find. So the Isium ore is really hard to find, in my opinion, underground. In the Nether, I might add. Now, looking through JEI for this stuff, it's not apparent that you can actually get it from a bee, but there is a bee. So if we do is bee, we can see right here, there is an Isium bee. And this thing right here gives us Isium combs, which can be processed down into raw Isium. And then this actually turns into the occultism version, right? Which is pretty nice, being able to have access to it like that. Now, to be able to get the bee is a different story. We just need a silver bee and we toss it into a spirit fire, and that gives us the bee. And getting silver bees are not hard either. All I need to do is breed up my iron bee with a mason bee, and I will get my silver bee. That's pretty straightforward. Now we are going to need multiples of these bees because we are going to have to crush the silver bees and do the same thing that we've been doing in the past with the genetic setup to be able to get 100% silver, and then we can turn it into an egg. Rest in pieces, silver bees. Oh boy. So in just like that, I put my 100% on to the treat, and now I have my silver egg. And yes, apparently we just toss this into the fire. Oh boy. Believe me, this is so much easier than actually hunting down this ore. Yeah, the ore is such a pain to go for. So I just need to take the bee and put it into the hive. And this was the same hive that I was using for Jark Gems. We don't need them anymore. So the bee is going to go in here, and I do have max productive upgrades. So this one bee should easily produce more than enough material for us. But that's right, we have to actually find an entire block of this ore before we can do this. Oh no. Well, time for a few more rituals in this case. This is going to be the spectral compulsion. And yes, this is going to allow me to craft those lenses that I was mentioning earlier. And then we also need a tool because we can't mine that ore without having a very specific tool. So now with my lenses infused, after doing that, we can now wear these on our heads. And yes, I'm going to have to equip it, I think, directly in my head slot. Or actually, it can go in my head slot here, but I will lose my night vision. And just like this, I should have myself the pickaxe I need. Now that we have all of this stuff, finding the ore is now the most difficult part because it does spawn at the really low levels under the in the nether. Like, it's going to be pretty hard to see as well. It's like a black sort of ore. And so yeah, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb, but it'll be hard to see because usually it's actually under lava. I think we have protection from lava, but we can't like see through the lava. So that's going to be kind of a pain. Aha, I did manage to see one. There is one right here. So I'm at Y level 36 and it was actually in the open. So if I mine this with, speaking of this particular pick, it does give me the ore. Okay, so then I should be able to attune this, I think. So if I place this back down, I can shift right click to attune this rod, and that'll make it a little bit easier. Oh wait, when I broke it down that time, it gave me the raw Isium. Okay, that's weird. Okay, so I should be able to now use this, and when I right click, it should let me know if there is some nearby. I think, do I hold down right click? Okay, I hold down right click, and notice now it's going to start telling me if I'm getting hotter or colder. Is that shooting R's particles? No way. It's shooting like R's projectiles. And showing me like right where it's going to be at. So apparently it's in the lava here. It's really hard to see anything. Let's see if I can't potentially move forward. Oh goodness. All right, can I get out of this lava? That's the one bad part. Like I said, it is going to be like in lava, unfortunately, most of the time. Oh, and we just can't see through the lava. And it's also not good for me to try and break it while under lava. It's just not going to work. Okay, so this one should be more like it. Thankfully, after we find enough to make a single block, Oh, we can just stop worrying about it. Oh, you know what? I should set this to vein mine. That way I make sure I don't accidentally break it with vein mine. Because that's the thing. I believe that it acts like normal netherite. So if I do this, I have a chance of actually breaking it with the wrong tool. Yeah, I should definitely Stella this. That way, if I do break it, which it says it is down here. If I check again, it is definitely down here somewhere. We should hopefully not completely destroy it. Oh, goodness. So nice. We actually have 2 of them here. And yeah, it is weird. I actually get 2 of the raw ore, but if I was to break it, I would get the raw this form. It's so weird if I place it back down again. Yeah, I think it's best if I just stay underground because this was actually right nearby. And so if I just keep doing this while being underground, yeah, it seems like it's pointing me sort of in the right direction. So now that didn't take as long as I thought it would. But what I want to do is I want to take my original crusher guy and I want to replace it with this. And that should give me more than enough. This guy will actually double this. And so I should get 2 dust from each. And all I need is 9 dust to make a block. And then we have infinite amounts of it. So now with all 10 of these, I should be able to smelt those down. And now I should have them all. So we should be able to get our bee up and running. And this means I can now make quite a few of the max tier crushers, which is essentially the reason why I want to do this. Now, as soon as this is on the feeding slab, this bee should really start taking off. Even though it's 1, it should still produce quite a bit. So is it producing? I don't know if it's a chance. Is it a chance out of the thing? No, it's 100% chance. And I know a couple of these combs have already gone through there. So we should start seeing more of these build up. Oh, there's actually 37 right here. You just can't see the number because of the color of the actual ore. Oh, that's actually kind of frustrating, not being able to see how many's there. So now we end up making this massive ritual that you see right here, which is the Figma's ritual. This thing is quite large, as you can see right here. And, well, it's now time to summon in a Mirrored Ore Crusher, which is the top tier ore crusher. This thing is going to be very nice. It is pretty fast, but the fact that it can 6 times ore process, which is more than just about anything in this pack, is pretty fantastic. Notice, yeah, it's going 16 times the speed, because some of these higher tier rituals just take a long time. That's the only downside, I would say. But there it is. There's the big boy himself. And yes, we can pick him up with the imprisonment tool, and we can move him around. Unfortunately, I don't think the mod is in here from ours. There's an Ars Occultism mod that allows you to put this guy in a jar and actually use it. I do still want to try and put him in a jar, but I don't think that it will actually still function in the jar without that mod. But by default, this guy is, like I said, pretty fast. Let's take that ore, by the way, that isium ore. And you can see now we can put this inside. And it's going to crush it up and should give us 6 dust. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. And we can also do even more with it. Like, for example, all the modium material, right? Because up to this point, we've only been doing like 2 times ore processing. This will now do 6 times. So it's definitely worth doing. And you can just drop the items onto this guy by default, but there is a automation method that you could use with another kind of demon that floats around. So I'm pretty sure if we put this in the containment jar, it shouldn't allow us to still use it like in this way. But like I said, I really wish that mod was in here. So kind of surprised it's not. Maybe there's some reasoning behind it not. But I don't think we can use a hopper by default and hopper into this. That would be pretty cool because that's how that mod works. Let's see. Let's take like some raw anything really, like raw gold. Let's see. And that's a resounding no. I was wondering if maybe one of these mods had already incorporated like this functionality by default, but no. Now to get this guy out, I have to use a dispel spell. So I've just gone ahead and set up a projectile dispel. And using that on the jar will actually get the the guy out of there. The easiest way to move him around is going to be by doing it this way. Okay, now hear me out. I think I have a way of technically automating this thing without needing that setup. So we can actually use create, I think. And the way that we're going to do this is utilizing this functionality where the funnel can actually stop and only drop one item down and make sure if an item is in the way, it won't send another one. And so because this guy needs items dropped onto him to interact with them, I was thinking maybe we can do this. And what we could do is use a brass funnel on the bottom, and then there's a single block gap in between here, and then we have an andesite funnel on top. And what we can say is we can use an attribute filter from the create mod. And this allows us to set a filter that is tag related, set to forged dust, and only allow forged dusts to be in here, since this guy will also drop the things it has completed. And so we should be able to put that in there. And so if I was to drop an ore, notice it drops the ore right here. And this guy is trying to go pick it up. So let's get some more raw, and we'll say gold. And if I put a stack in here, is that going to keep dropping? Okay, so this guy is grabbing it right now. That's not what we want to happen. But we notice it does stop right there. But this guy's going to grab it. So what we could do is we should be able to place this guy right here. And so once it has done its operation, it should spit out the dust. Oh, but I noticed the dust doesn't necessarily get picked right up, does it? Oh, it is. It is. We could probably solve this more by using some trap doors and possibly just surrounding it with some trap doors. And that might actually do the trick. And then we have an input and output for this thing that will not overflow. And that would be really, really nice. Is this actually, oh, is the filter not working? That might also be the case here, because it is accepting the items, but I guess, is this not considered a forged dust? Oh, I never added the attribute. So I have to hit that plus to add it. And then when we put this in, then it should be good. It should be good to go. And we should notice only dust going in here. What a little bit of a cheesy way to automate this guy. Now, just to make sure we don't have items pulling up, let's go ahead and drop this down, and that should put 64 in its inventory ultimately. And then once it hits 64, this should stop until it has processed the next one, and then it should drop down. I love create, man. It is so useful for situations like this. Okay, so it has dropped, and it looks like it should stop once it hits that full 64. Oh, it's getting so close. It's getting so close. Oh, moment of truth. And it should slow down, I think. 63, 64. And there it goes. It has now slowed down. And that means that it's only ever going to send one whenever it is ready to process the next one. So we should only ever have one item floating on the ground at once. Oh, that's so good. Now this right here is just a proof of concept for right now. I do plan on setting up a much bigger sort of setup. I think I'm going to utilize this area right here and eventually have multiples of these. That's my plan. I think I can recreate the same hallway, but instead it'll be a hallway full of these crusher guys. Oh, and we could just send all of our ore to be processed here. Oh man, long are the days of this factory. We should be able to have a massive factory set up. Now on to finishing up all of the things that we need for the ATM Star from this mod. Now I would like to semi-automate this whole process. This is going to use the Soldier's Higher Binding, which is this ritual right here. And this is a pretty straightforward ritual. We just need to provide it with silver and then gold, copper, and then diamonds. And then we need to split up the soul sand. So let's get some more soul sand in here. Might as well. We can craft up a bunch of it. And then we'll split up that soul sand into these as well. And I feel like this will work. So long as this middle section, I have a hopper underneath it. So long as it functions, we should be good. I'll just have to make, I believe 18 of these. And we'll see. If I place this in, is that going to automate it? It has to be, I think, right-clicked. Oh, no, it goes straight through the hopper. Okay. So this is what I was worried about. So I guess instead of using a hopper, I would just use not a hopper and probably just stand here. That would probably make more sense. Yeah, because that's going to be the only like major issue is figuring out how we get the items in here. Can I at least hopper this into it to activate it? It looks like it can go in there. Is it activated? That's the thing. I think it has to be like right clicked. Yeah, I think it has to be right clicked by me to activate it. So, yep. And it does appear to be the thing. This is make sure the pinnacle ingredients are set up correctly. Yeah, I think what I'm going to have to do is try it by hand. So let's try it by hand. Yep. So it is going to have to be by hand. And so at least these should auto refill, and that will make this process a little bit faster doing it by hand. So yeah, I've got to go through with each of these. I think I can just put them in potentially and they'll auto refill. Yeah, I can just do it this. This is so much quicker. So yeah, I'm going to need 18 of these total. And once I have this done, as you see right there, it spits out the ingredient, the empty soul gem. And this is the thing that we are going to need 18 of, or 18 dragon souls to make 2 blocks worth of Altamont stars. And with the time in the bottle, setting this to max, this process should be quite fast. Oh, that is too good. Yes, it is incredibly fast. Oh, goodness. Thank you, time in the bottle. That's all of them. Already done. Wow. So what a day today was with getting into occultism. Now I have a lot more planned to do with occultism, such as making more of those crushers and getting those set up for the end game. But guys, if you did enjoy, be sure to click that subscribe button and also give this video a huge thumbs up. Also comment down below, what's your favorite familiar from this mod? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, there are familiars. Just let me know. I would love to hear from you, and maybe we'll make it in the next episode or two. We'll see. We'll see. And well, guys, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks is going to go out to I'm a Ghost. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord and becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. Oh my goodness, guys. Thank you so very much. I hope to see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.